Hello, everyone. My name is Madwako Elias Joaquin, and here with me I have Rihanna Abosede Wahab. We both will be serving as your moderator for today's event, and we are the Nigerian Youth SDGs champion for Zamfara State and Ogun State, respectively. Nigerian Youth SDGs Network is a coalition of youth-led civil society whose mission is to amplify the voice of youth and enhance their participation in the developmental agenda of their country. Nigerian Youth SDG is an implementation partner with Leap Africa, whose initiative is Youth Day of Service, which we'll be observing today. The Youth Day of Service is an annual week-long Pan-African youth-led social campaign that begins on August 12th every year, which is also the International Youth Day. The Youth Day of Service is designed to ignite agencies and creativity of young people across Africa towards sustainable development and also to promote the culture of communal support and community development. The campaign theme for this year, 2020 Youth Day of Service, is youthful and useful. Youthful and useful. And the vision for this year's campaign is to see how youth around the world, among the at least 20 African countries, how they can come together to execute a project. We are looking up to 1,000 projects to be executed. And then we are looking up to 1 million beneficiaries in this year. In this year, Youth Day of Service. So also we'll be launching our SDG Playbook today. And in our midst, we have some panelists who will be answering questions regarding this playbook and regarding the Nigerian Youth SDG Network. Among the panelists, I have Dr. Shedrack Akpan Terese. He's a goal-driven, passionate, and result-oriented youth leader. He has over 6 years experience in entrepreneurship and non-profit sector. He's the CEO of Movement Nigeria Limited and currently the advocacy and engagement lead of the Nigerian Youth SDG Network. Ms. Goodness is one of the panelists too. She's a young woman passionate about young people and development. She's an earth equity, sustainable development, global and gender equality. She is currently the programs and project lead with the Nigerian Youth SDG Network. She is working with young people passionate about localizing the global goals and attaining sustainable development in Nigeria. And one of the panelists among us here too is Dov Ona. Dov holds a master's degree in forensic science from the University of Ibadan, and he also works as a researcher at the University of Calabar. He is a fellow of the Nigerian School on Internet Governance, scholar, and European Forum Abbat, and is also the Nigerian Youth SDGs State Champion for Cross River State. And the last panelist on my list is Chidima Okoye. Chidima is an author. She's an educator and the founder of Global Initiative for Proper Parenting. She's the Nigerian Youth SDG Champion for Anambra State. And with this, I'll give it over to my co-moderator, Rihanna Abdul Wahab, to take over from here.
Thank you so much, Elias. That was a wonderful one. If you are just drop wherever you are chatting from, drop your location. If you are chatting from Lagos, wherever you are chatting from in Nigeria, just drop it there in the chat box. So one of the reasons we are having this event is to launch our book, which is called the SDGs Playbook. So we're going to have a panel discussion with our amazing panelists who are full of youth, who are already making impact, great impact in the society. So we are going to hear what they have to say about SDGs and about Playbook. So if you are yet to know much about SDGs, don't worry, just relax and enjoy this discussion. Welcome, Goodness. Welcome, Dr. Shedrack. Welcome, Chidima and Onado. So my first question is going to Goodness. We know that SDGs is the Sustainable Development Goals, which consist of the 17 goals which we have to help solve as youth in the society in order to achieve the 2030 agenda. So, Goodness, what is the SDGs Playbook about? We want you to tell our audience what the SDGs Playbook is all about. Hello, Goodness, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. My mic was
Right, so in 2 minutes,
ago.
please tell us what the SDGs Playbook is all about.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. The SDGs Playbook is a resource material that is provided to help everyone, irrespective of the sector you are working in, to see where you play a key role in the achievement of the sustainable development goal. So, take for example, you're a business person, and in your business, you are wondering what's your role in achieving the SDGs. So, the playbook is to give easy to understand and specific ways we all are achieving the SDGs and can make it more sustainable. So for a businessman, he's contributing to the economic growth of the country, and that impacts on SDGs 8. And how it can make it more sustainable is using certain strategies that builds the economy, that builds his community, and also the development would not stall future development, which is key to sustainable development. The same thing applies to actualizing quality education, zero poverty, gender equality, productivity, any SDGs you want to mention, life on land, life on water. What are those activities we carry out on a daily basis that impact on the sustainable development goals? In one way or the other, we are all connected to achieving this. And one beautiful thing about the SDGs playbook is it leaves no one behind. So everybody has a role to play, and it's in a way that is easy to understand. That's why it's called a playbook. So it's fun, it's easy to understand, and at the same time, it cuts across. So that's like a summary of what our SDGs playbook is about. Thank you so much.
Okay, that was a wonderful one. So you heard that the SDGs playbook is like a resource material or a guide on how you can achieve these SDGs. So it can be something simple as stop dropping dead on the floor, or trying to go to the hospital whenever you are sick, or trying to help someone. So it can just be a simple task. So now, thank you so much, Goodness, once again. We understand what the SDGs playbook is all about now. Now, Dr. Shedrack, this question is for you. What is the motivation behind the SDGs playbook, and who are our target audience? Hello, Mr. Shedrack, can you hear me?
Okay.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I can hear
so
you.
in just
can
2 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so just to hit straight to the point, our target audience, or what basically we expect to have access to this document is investing. The principal motivation around this whole document came about as one of the outcomes of our 2019 edition. So we realized that there was a very huge gap around young people understanding exactly what they need to do and how they're going to be able to deploy those efforts. So we felt that built around young people being very productive, young people being very pivotal in actualizing from goal 1 down to goal 17. It is important they know critically how they're going to be able to do that. So Nigeria is structured in various sectors. So it's important that every single person knows the role that are supposed to play, and they also know how strategic they are and how important those roles are so that everyone knows what they're doing. So it's not a matter of being accidental in terms of action, but being very, very deliberate. So the book, first and foremost, is for everyone, whether you're a government worker, whether you're a student, whether you're working, whatever you're doing, there's a place for you. And the motivation, like I said, is in giving people ownership of how they can be able to drive the actualization of the goals. Thank you.
All right, that was a wonderful one. So I'm sure you heard that the SDGs playbook is for everyone, whether you're working, whether you're a student, whether you are in any area or field at all, it's for you. So, Mr. Shedrack, this question goes for you again. So you mentioned the target
Okay.
audience that it's for everyone. So how can the SDGs
Yes.
playbook get to people, especially young people in the grassroots? I'm talking about people who do not have the means to get both the soft copy and the hard copy.
Okay, thank you very much. So around every form of innovation, right, it comes with its peculiar challenges. But interestingly, too, we have where this document is meant to serve also as. So remember, I said this plays a role in the life of every single person. So those hard to reach areas, we're going to be counting on what we're persons who initially didn't know how they can even add value to the lives of those under them. So now, as a religious leader in a rural area, as a teacher in a community school, as leader, you don't have a material that you can be able to take down. So they don't have to necessarily be able to even read what is in the document. I'm talking about those who are not educated enough to read. But they have the mind to know that this action of mine impacts the SDGs one way or the other. So that is how we're targeting to reach every single place.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. That was great. So if you're just hearing our playbook for the first time, you know that this is a guide on how to achieve the SDGs in a more simple way. So you don't have to stress yourself, you don't have to have all the billions in order for you to make an impact in your society. So goodness, this question is for you. So Mr. Shedrack talked about how the SDGs playbook, how it can help people to achieve the SDGs in a more simpler way. So can you tell us how individuals and others use this on a daily basis to advance the SDGs?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So I'm going to give a typical example of. Can you hear me? Okay, I'm giving a typical example of what we do on a daily basis. We, especially those of us in Nigeria, so we all know that woman that sells akara, maybe in our street or in our neighborhood, and you may wonder, is she impacting or achieving the SDGs through her sale of akara? And I'll tell you, yes, this is how. As simple as her daily sale of akara, she's contributing to the economic growth of the country and in a way helping to reduce hunger because it is affordable and people across the socioeconomic groups can be able to buy and fill their stomach so there is no hunger. At the same time, and that's is this one. At the same time, she's also helping to grow the economy because her sale of akara is in a way building the economy through her purchase, and in most cases she contributes to paying some tax that is used to build the economy and the country. Aside that, on a personal note, if she makes the production of akara in a sustainable manner where she does not pollute the environment and ensures that she protects the environment while producing the akara, and that impacts on SDGs 11, which has to do with sustainable communities, ensuring that our cities are more sustainable. At the same time, she puts into cognizance that there is a need for her to ensure that the akara is healthy in terms of the production process. That impacts on good health and well-being because, like we know, what we eat, we are what we eat, as many would say. Also, there's a likelihood that her producing the akara is also, she may have a family which is depending on the sales of that akara, and that's also building the livelihood and economic level of her family. Probably she has a child at home who she's sending to school, and she has to pay some fees or whatever they need for education. So because of her sales of the akara, she can be able to provide some level of quality education for her child. The fees and the money she pays to the school also contributes to the school ensuring that there's proper running and the teachers can get their salaries in one way or the other, which also contributes to economic development. So the beautiful thing about this is that it is interconnected. The 17 goals is interconnected. And I can assure you that as individuals, even if you don't have, say, civil society organization you are running, in your daily life, you are contributing to achieving the SDGs. She does not dispose the waste or materials that she generates at the end of producing the akara in the gutter or just indiscriminate disposal. She ensures that she disposes it properly. She's ensuring that we have a clean environment. She's ensuring that the environment is healthier for everyone. You understand? So that's SDGs 3 on good health and well-being. It still impacts on SDGs 11 and productivity, SDGs 12 and the rest. So it's a beautiful connection, and as simple as that, somebody in that level is achieving the SDGs. So everybody has a role, and I hope that's a simple way of understanding how our SDGs playbook plays a role in everyone getting involved in the attainment of the 2030 goal of sustainable development.
Okay, that's great. I love the story of the woman who you said is selling akara, and thereby she's solving some SDGs goals by not polluting the environment, and also by getting some money for herself and for our children. So in that way, we are also trying to solve gender inequality where she gets empowered. So that is a very great one. So speaking of SDGs, I know some people here will be like, okay, I'm new into this SDG stuff. I don't even know what it's all about. Although I'm trying to understand everything we've been saying, True Goodness Story, for example, because that is very relatable. So, Chidima, this question is for you. What has been the impact story of the MDGs and SDGs? So just give us the story of how these MDGs and SDGs come about. So you have just 2 minutes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Reinhard, for that question. Now, most of us, we are very young when the MDGs were here, because it was launched in 2000. It was meant to take over from 2000 to 2015, and it had 8 goals, which we had some goals like reducing infant mortality, combating HIV and AIDS, promoting gender equality, and all that. So NDG achieved some goals too, because from there they got, let me use for example, the combating of HIV/AIDS, because before now people were afraid of the disease and a lot of children were dying because of malaria, but today many children are no longer dying because it ended in 2015. From that 2015, there was lots of sensitization program, intervention, and all that. Now going to SDG, which I can really talk about because I'm part of it. I wasn't part of MDG goals. I heard of it. We were small then, not really small, but at least we were not making impact then. But SDGs now, I know that SDGs are really impacting. To start with, let me use my organization, Global Initiative, as an instance. One of the SDG goals has to do with quality education. And when you talk about quality education, it's not only about the life and the formal education. We have the formal education, semi-formal, and the informal education. So my organization is working towards helping the young people out there to get the informal and semi-formal part of education. Then I'll come over to Nigerian Youth SDG, which I'm part of. I'm the Anambra State champion. I got to get involved because they're taking care of SDG Goal 8, which is decent job. And also SDG Goal 17 has to do with partnership. So my organization, Global Initiative, is taking that to, because we are partnering with Nigerian Youth SDG in achieving that decent job for youth. Now I joined, I will just tell my story. I saw their forms filled and got a mail that I've been selected. We were trained, and from there I was made the Anambra State champion. From there, we've done our youth lab, which we did December last year, and a lot of youth were happy because we need to really get to the grassroots. So a lot of people came because they've been hearing SDG, but we were there. We talked to them about the SDG, how they can be part of it in their own little way, just like a goodness story. Just that little thing you are doing, you are contributing to make impact, to also help in achieving that sustainable development goals. So to my own understanding, MDG made impact, but the progress was now channeled to bring up another program, which is now called SDGs, because MDG ended in 2015. So SDG now took up to end in 2030. And all of us here are part of that program. From now to 2030, we're expected to achieve greater part of these 17 goals, from zero hunger to the last one, which is goal 17, which is partnership. That's all I can say for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chidima. So for those of you that have no idea about MDGs, MDGs and SDGs, Chidima has really done justice to that. So the MDGs, because of its inadequacy, they had to introduce the SDGs, which has 17 goals. And for this goal, we should all put our hands together to achieve this goal. You can see the story Goodness gave us, how that woman selling akara, how she was able to solve almost like 5 goals altogether. So that's a very nice one. So this question is for Onna Do. So Chidima talked about SDGs, and that was great. But I want you to share more light on SDGs. So what are SDGs, and how do they come about? Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. Good day. And Renat, I like your smile. Your smile has been very good for me throughout the entire program. Hi, Goodness. Hi, everyone else. So before I go into the SDGs, I want to establish a fact. And that fact is that the UN, right? The UN has this exceptional track mile to always develop exceptional frameworks for us to work with, right? So the UN has this habit of developing exceptional frameworks for the world to go into. That framework started with MDGs, but then the MDGs had a lot of challenges. The first was MDGs was developed mainly by the UN without input from civil societies, private, public, and even some other governmental institutions that were supposed to be a part of that process. And so when they brought out the MDGs, it had a lot of backlash, it had a lot of criticism, it had a lot of challenges because it wasn't all-encompassing, it wasn't inclusive, all right? And so to us, 2 years before 2015, when they realized that they were not going to meet the targets that the MDGs they were set for, the UN, in their usual way or in their usual fashion, again, developed yet another exceptional framework called the SDGs, right? These are like the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is not like a habit for them. It's because the UN, right, has this vision to, for a more peaceful, healthy, and equitable earth. So you will not put too much blame on them for, developing these frameworks for the world to work with. But now they got this right by doing 2 things. First, they set up 2 groups, the UN task force and also the open groups. Now the open working groups are like civil societies, the public partnership that they left out in the first place, and then other government institutions that have invited this time around to develop what they call the SDGs. And then now by September 2015, they put together 17 goals, 17 exceptional goals, or 17 of the top challenges in the world that they think that if everyone contributes to these goals, the world is going to be more peaceful, more prosperous, more equitable, and healthy for us in general. And so there, the UN, made up of 193 member states, that's 193 countries, came together to propose the SDGs. And now, aside the 17 goals, they were able to further break it down into targets. All right. So of the 17 goals, we have 169 targets, which I like how the SDG Network Nigeria has also now broken those targets into what we call the playbook that we're launching today. Now, this makes it even simpler because now the SDGs being implemented can have both they are global issues, but we're thinking of how we can develop local solutions to them. And that's why Goodness Story is very interesting, because the woman selling Accra is developing local solutions to global problems in our own way. And so we do not actually set out to solve SDGs. We actually contribute to them in our own little ways. And that's why this playbook is really, really important. And I need to stress the fact that for the SDGs to work, and the reason why SDGs are even a little bit more successful than the MDGs is the continued advocacy. And that's why we would not stop talking about it. Like, we at the network would not stop talking about the SDGs, because it all begins with the advocacy, the constant talking, the consultations, and then the inclusive approach to it. And most importantly, and I'm stressing this, most importantly, the granular and local approach to contributing to the SDGs, like wherever you are, okay? And so another challenge for the SDGs right now that I think is most countries or most organizations, even in Nigeria here, would just pick up SDGs that require the least efforts, the least energy to contribute to. So we're not contributing to SDGs based on priority. We are like, what's the easiest way to do? What's the easiest way to that has minimal efforts, minimal resources, and that's a big challenge for me. And I hope that we'll be able to turn that out to focus on the sustainability of the world, and hoping that we leave the world better than we met it generally.
Okay, that was a wonderful one. So if you don't know about the SDGs now, I think Honor has really done justice to that. And like you said, we should continue making awareness about this. We should continue making advocacy. Tell your friends about SDGs and let them know the little ways they can help solve these SDGs. You don't have, like I do tell everyone, you don't have to have 1 billion naira in your account before you can say you want to solve SDGs. You can start from your home. So let's learn to, come together and put hands to help solve the SDGs. Now, still back to Honor though. I would like to know how you joined the Nigeria Youth SDGs Network. Hello,
Question.
did you hear my question?
Oh, that's easy. Yes, I got that.
Okay.
Can I go? Yes, so that's easy. So in my lifestyle, or it's like my life goal to contribute, to the world, to make it a better place, or leave it better than we met it, and all of that. And I'm sure how I got into the Nigerian SDG is in the fact that I saw that the network made things simpler, and this is what I mean. Now the network has been able to narrow down what priority areas that needs more attention, where young people can put in their efforts, and where to commit more resources to. So they're able to get where to put attention to, where the efforts is supposed to go to, and what resources is required in particular places. And I like that so much that in solving the SDGs, we need somebody who is supposed to, or we need a body who is supposed to tell us what the priority is. So we do not go about choosing the least, the easier SDGs to implement or whatever, but those who would sit down and prioritize what is the priority, what we're supposed to do, what young people are supposed to contribute to. So over the years, we've seen young people lashing at government doesn't do this does not do that, does it. But the MDGs had those challenges, and the people were saying it was not inclusive. And now the SDGs are more inclusive. And I like that the government is a bit, it's a bit slow, or was slow in the initial time of adopting the SDGs. And that's why the civic space has taken the frontier in leading the changes. All right. And I like that the SDGs network is giving the voice for young people to contribute effectively to the development of the achievement of the SDGs, right, as set by the UN. Now, my involvement with the SDGs network probably came from my association with Daniel and YZ. So Daniel is like my boss and mentor and also colleague. We work together for communications on several UNESCO projects. And at the point he said, "Okay, I'm working on this project right now with the Youth SDGs network. Do you have some time?" And I'm like, "Of course, I already have some time to, attend to world problems or contribute my quota to world problems." And I would not say it has been particularly easy, but I like the fact that I'm able to contribute my skills, my experience, and my expertise in, building the Nigerian Youth SDGs network and, showing up whenever, I'm being needed.
Okay, that's a great one. So, Nigeria Youth SDGs is an NGO where we have youth contributing greatly to the society. So it has this inclusion, like you said, because inclusion is very, very important in solving the SDGs, and that's why we have the partnership. We have the partnership goal. So it is very, very important. You can hear his story, you can hear everything he says about making impact, learning so much. So just try to have this heart for volunteering. Just have this passion for volunteering. It might not come with money for now, but you will surely see the results later. So in anywhere you are, just try to
Oh,
volunteer. Try to make an impact in your society. So I have a question for Chidima. And the question is, what are some of the challenges facing young people? Because we have a lot of young people that will say, okay, I don't have a platform to talk about this, or I don't know how to go about achieving these SDGs at all. So what are some of the challenges facing young people in their journey of advocating for the SDGs?
Okay, thank you once again for having me back. The challenges young people are facing, number one is lack of access. That's lack of access to information. A lot of young people, they spend so much time on social media, chatting and all that, but they don't really go to look out for quality information. And like you said, Reinhard, concerning volunteering, some of them, they really want to have this quick money, because when you talk to them about volunteering, they'll be like, is he paying? How much are they paying me? Are they paying? And all that. It's all about money, money, money. So that is also one. I think parents have a lot to do in that area if they can train their children in a way that they will have this spirit of volunteering. Now, for those who are willing to volunteer, they also have problem of funds, because now if you are talking about advocacy, believe you me, you need funds. Like this one we are doing now, you need money for your data, to push it on social media, online. Even if you are traveling to any location, maybe in the remote places, you still need money for that. And most times, most people don't really support, like your organization. Let me use myself as an example. Like now we are planning on a project where we want to go to remote places, villages, to talk to youth, secondary school girls, about menstrual hygiene, give them pad and all that. You now find out that having access to grants to do such is also a setback, because it can kill your spirit. You'll be like, people will even be asking you, why are you wasting your time, why are you wasting your resources? So I think the major things are access to information. They don't have access to information that will help them know where and where to channel all this energy to. Then those who cannot volunteer, they need to be encouraged to know that everything is not about money, money, money. And the seed you sow today, you can actually reap it tomorrow. So you can actually make your society better by contributing, no matter how small. Just that little boy or girl around you, you can talk to the person, you can just do anything within your locality to make impact. Is very important. So to answer that question, two things: lack of information and lack of funds. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chidima. That is awesome. So she talked about some of the challenges, which are lack of access to information. That is, youth out there, you need to hear this. You need to have time to just browse out relevant things on the internet. You don't have to spend your time, watching Telemundo or watching things that are not really relevant at the moment. So, and also problem of phone. Youth don't have support, and this cause a setback to most of the things they try to do. And that's true. In a situation where you want to start an NGO and you want to solve a problem, but you don't have the money to carry out some projects, so that can really, really be frustrating. So a part of the solution she suggested was youth should be encouraged to volunteer, and it shouldn't be about money, money, money. So I want to throw this question to the panelists. Anyone can answer this question. So about the problem of fund, what are the possible solutions to this? Goodness.
Okay, can I take it?
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, access to fund. Number one, let's start with the government. If government can make some fund that's reachable to some youth, because sometimes you and I, we are in this country, sometimes we spend so much money on things that are not really so relevant. For example, you hear about the government spending billions of naira on, maybe, let me use this ban on Twitter, for example. There are major things that this money can be channeled to, that will help the society, that can help achieve these SDGs. But these monies are not being channeled to those areas. And there are people who are willing to work and they don't have access to funds. Then if there are access to funds, sometimes they do it onto IM. If you don't know anybody, you won't have access. So if they can come up with organizations like our network, Nigerian Youth SDGs, that is so organized, that know what they are doing, if they can channel such energy to those places and say, take these funds, know the volunteers who are doing this or that, use it to support them, I think it will go a long way. Even the youth who don't have the morale to start up something, it can encourage them to be like a motivator for them to use that fund to start up something. So I think the government, individuals, organizations can come up and support organizations who are actually working, because some are just paper NGOs. There are organizations that are actually working. They know how to get them, support them. I think it will go a long way to help the youth participate more in achieving the SDGs.
Okay, I want to add something to what Chidima has shared. Is that fine? Reynolds?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So just to add to what she has shared, I believe that the change we are seeking should start from us. So as young people, our team is saying you and youth leading the SDGs action and leading change in the SDGs. So what you can do is, one field that many young people are not really putting so much interest in, is a thriving field that will keep thriving and is key to sustainable development, is the agricultural sector. Gladly, this year's IYD, that's International Youth Day team, is on transforming food systems for planetary health. So there are different segments of the agricultural sector that many young people can be involved. You mustn't be in the farm, maybe planting crops or raising animals, and that's not downplaying that particular aspect of agriculture. There is the transportation, storage, marketing, different aspects, connecting the products to the customers. So young people, if you are really serious about being involved and getting the necessary funds, especially financially, agriculture is a good space for you to consider. Another thing is, if you look at the our 21st century, it has exposed us to a lot of opportunities that you can leverage on. Build some core skills that can put you at an advantage in terms of accessing some opportunities. What I mean is that social media, you could earn a lot by what you do on social media. Many of us as young people, we are on the TikTok, Instagram, and you have people you are following, celebrities, influencers. It will amaze you that just watching that TikTok video or that YouTube video or following that influencer on Instagram, joining their Instagram live and all of that, they are earning from it. And that's to tell you that there is a power of social media for your financial benefits. So it's something you can maximize if you use some core skills. And interestingly, you don't even need to get all the skills for you to even make money out of some of these things. As simple as your ability to dance, pass relevant information through some videos you could create, it will go a long way. I know you need data, but the same data you used to watch these influencers and celebrity videos is a good way to start. Also, many people, especially employers, will tell you that the jobs are available, but the gap is in employability. So what it means is that you need to equip yourself with the relevant 21st century skills, from communication skills, writing skills, your ability to work as a team, as simple as writing a cover letter. Many young people need to face these hard truths and equip themselves to be employable. So last year in 2020, we had our Decent Work campaign, and we ran this Decent Work survey around the Nigerian Employment Action Plan. And we asked young people, what do you need to say you are decent, you have a decent work, or you are employed in a decent way? And they gave amazing response from the survey we conducted, both online and the offline aspect of the survey. And it reflects that there are a lot of opportunities young people can jump on. Yes, we know that there is a gap in employment. We know that there's a gap in what our institutions are producing and the needs in the labor market. But you need to put yourself in a position that you are advantaged, and a lot of resources are available to achieve that. So this is what I have to say to young people. Don't always say government do this, government do that. Many young people are making the best out of their situation.
Wow. Goodness has really touched so many areas and so many aspects. In fact, she gave a very good advice to the youth. So as youth, you have to have the 21st century skills, the relevant skills. If you are looking for how to, maybe get engaged in solving one of the SDGs goal, you can make use of your social media tool. Social media is a very, very strong tool. So you can create content, you can create graphics if you have that skill, and then you can put it on social media platform. Then you get people's comment on it. That way, you are also creating awareness about that. Thank you very much, Goodness. So let's come back to the playbook, which is one of the reasons we are having this event. This is very, very important. So I have a question for you, Dr. Shedrack. Is there a feedback mechanism in place to understand the impact of SDGs playbook on the society, and if there is a need for modification?
Reynolds, I don't think Dr. Shedrack is on the call at the moment. It seems he's having some network.
Okay, all right.
But you can
okay, I think
repeat the question. He has come on now. Yeah.
Okay. So Mr. Shedrack, I asked the question and it goes thus: is there a feedback mechanism in place to understand the impact of SDGs playbook on the society, and if there is a need for modification? Did you get the question?
Yes, I did.
Mr. Shedrack, did you?
I'm sorry. Yes, I got the question. Sorry, I had some glitches, so I got disconnected. Okay, yes, there's a feedback channel. So first, we need to understand that this document it's not static, right? So it's going to evolve with the needs and the changing times. So maybe 5 years from now, we would see that what we have on ground now needs to be modified. There's a room for that. Aside sending back feedback to us via email, there are channels on the website, the Nigerian Youth SDGs Network's website, where you can always drop in your suggestions. And very importantly, the network has social media channels. This is where you get to interact and then share the updates that you have that you feel are practical and can add value to what we're doing. So ultimately, what we're looking at falls back to how we can all make the document better. So what we have done is not a gold standard. So we are looking to evolving and improving on it as we make progress. So it's not a static document that cannot be changed at any time. So yes, if you have inputs, you can always share with us via email, via our social media accounts. So that's the feedback channel, and also through the website.
All right. So thank you very much, Mr. Shedrack. So like you said, you can send feedback and suggestions on the network's channel, and you can also visit www.nigeriayouthsdgs.org to read more about what we do. So my last question goes to Goodness. Okay, so Goodness, how did you get involved in the SDGs localization, and how has the Nigeria Youth SDGs Network provided a platform for you in this regard?
Okay, thank you for that question, Reynolds. So in terms of localizing the SDGs, I would say that the level of understanding and clarity I have in that area at the moment is not as it was, say, 4 or 5 years ago. But that does not mean that I was not localizing the SDGs in my own way. And how do I mean? Before I got involved in the network, I was supporting a few civil society organizations where we provide correct information to young people around their health, sexual reproductive health and rights, life building skills, and in one way or the other, we're impacting on the SDGs. So localizing the SDGs is saying that how are you looking at local contexts that you are solving problems in your community. And I have been doing that prior to joining the network. But in 2018, so this is a little bit of a story. A friend of mine, he's currently a pharmacist. He was a UCOM member, doing his NYC in Gombe State, his service year. And I got to know him through Facebook. I was following what he was doing, and every now and then he posts about different projects he is carrying out with other groups, young people, and eco members in the state. So this day they are cleaning up the environment, and he's always talking about localizing the SDGs in the short post he makes on Facebook. Say, oh, we are achieving SDGs 3 through this work we are doing, or there's a medical outreach for we are achieving SDGs 3. They are mapping the city to add some places or locations that is not on Google Map. They are achieving the SDGs, and I got very interested. What is this SDGs he's always talking about? What is this localizing the SDGs he's always talking about? So I had to reach out to him and say, I would love to be part of this strategic and intentional way of localizing the SDGs. And he told me he's involved in Nigeria in this SDGs network, and they are doing amazing things, engaging young people in different areas of the SDGs. He connected me with Mr. Joshua Alade. Fortunately, I was in Lagos at that period. I got to have a meeting with Mr. Joshua Alade, who is the executive director of the network. He talked about my aspirations. He talked about why I was interested in being part of the network. And when I got back, because I schooled in Cross River State at the University of Calabar, I got back and I decided that I want to start a chapter of the Nigerian Youth SDGs network in Cross River State. Not because I have it all figured out, but in my course of study, we did some parts of the SDGs, and I was very interested to see how, in our own little way, we could localize the SDGs. To cut the long story short, between then and now, we have carried out some projects as a chapter in Cross River State, because I remember that same year, we had a 31 days online awareness on breast cancer. At the same time, collaborated with a few civil society organizations here in Cross River State to have physical awareness and screening of individuals who were interested, especially women, on breast cancer. After then, there has been meaningful youth engagement. Many young people have gotten clarity on how they can be involved, and being involved in achieving the SDGs, we've been able to have key partnerships with civil society organizations and to see how we can amplify the work that puts young people at the forefront of providing solutions to the problems we have in our community, in the state, and the country level. So that's more like a summary of my story, and I think the story continues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this you told us about a story where you had a curiosity and willingness to learn more about SDGs, and this led you to Nigeria's Youth SDGs. So you were very much interested in carrying out the SDGs goals, the SDGs. So you were, and some of your activities you were able to carry out awareness on breast cancer, and you were able to do so many community engagement. So I would advise youth, every youth out there, to engage in one or two activities in order to solve this SDGs goal. Remember, we need to come together in order to solve this SDGs so that we can achieve it in the year 2030. Okay, so we've come to the end of our panel discussion, and if you have any question, kindly drop your question in the chat box. Please, if you have any questions to ask our panelists, kindly drop your question in the chat box. Okay, so we have a message from Timothy Ododo. So he said he's Anambra State Assistant Champion. SDGs advocacy is his way of life. It is how, okay, according to him, it is how I bring to reality all that the youth and my environment ought to be. Anambra State is well covered. I and my entire team and volunteers will keep advocating till there is no more need for SDGs advocacy. Well done, Chidima Okoye, for all you are doing in Anambra State. I'm glad having you as my colleague and working with you. Thank you, Timothy. Please, if you have any question, you can drop your questions in the chat box. We'll read them.
Thank you, Timothy.
Okay. I think I have another. Wow, this is very, very interesting. We have audience from Nasarawa State, Calabar, Imo State. Thanks for joining. We have Oladimeji from Kwara State. Okay, Shoyinka from Ibadan. Idris Bashir from Ogun State. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Okay, so Yusuf Shoyinka said, it was during my undergraduate I get to know SDGs. I also attended summit of University of Ibadan Center for Sustainable Development Studies Center with SDSN Southwest Youth. I participated in marathon race inside UI that year. Once again, I'm Shoyinka Abayomi Yusuf. Thank you, Shoyinka, for joining us. Okay, I'm still following. I would love to have all the facilitators of this online event contact, including host Rihanna. Okay, all right. So the panelists, you can drop your contact or share your names or handles, your social media handles in the chat box so that people can connect with you. Please, if you have questions, kindly drop your question before we move to another agenda. Okay, while we wait for our audience to drop their questions, because I'm sure that most of them have interesting questions to ask and they're still going to drop it. So let's start with this pledge of honor. So I'm going to start with myself. I pledge to stop I pledge to stop throwing dirt on the floor, and I also pledge to continue to make impact in my society. So I'm going to have the pledge from our panelists too, and then you as our audience kindly drop your pledge in the chat. I want to see everyone pledging to something, to stop or start doing something. Okay, so Goodness, your pledge.
Okay, that's like getting us on the spot, but it's okay. I pledge towards continuous advocacy towards the achievement of gender equality, young people development, and health equity in my community and in the nation at large.
Okay, so Mr. Shedrack.
Okay. I pledge to sustain my advocacy against poverty, against hunger, against unemployment, and to keep driving decent jobs and economic growth for young people to advance our collective productivity. I so pledge.
That's great. Chidima, let's have your pledge.
I pledge to continue to advocate for good health and well-being, especially for the girls, African girls, Nigerian girls. I also pledge to continue to fight against indecent job for youth, so always advocate for decent job for youth, and also partner to every organization that would work for the achievement of this sustainable development goals. Thank you.
So, Honor, do your pledge.
It's like though he's not on the call or he's having a little network glitch.
Okay, Elias, let's have your pledge.
All right. I pledge to continue to volunteer with Nigerian Youth SDG and to continue to impart on my immediate society in all I do and in every activity that has to do with youth and SDG in my immediate environment. Thank you.
Okay, that's nice. So we have a pledge from one of our audience, Onoji Goswe Oche. I pledge to help reduce cultism, drug abuse, and other social vices, and to promote entrepreneurship skills and community development. Wow, that's awesome. So we want you to continue dropping your pledge in the chat box. And don't forget, if you have any question at all, just drop it in the chat box. Now, everyone, kindly visit Nigeria Youth SDGs website. So, for the playbook, in order to download the SDGs playbook, all you have to do is go to Nigeria Youth SDGs website, log in, input your email and your name, and then you'll be able to download the playbook, or the link will be sent to you. So, I'm going to drop the link in the chat box too. Okay, so in the absence of no question, I have a question to ask, and my question goes to Goodness. So, Goodness, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so if we have some youth that are interested in volunteering, how do you think they can go about this? And can you talk a bit about volunteering and why you think it's important and the platform they can access to get this opportunity?
Okay, so in terms of volunteering, it is important, but I would say it's not mandatory for everyone to be a volunteer. But if you consider that you can make your own input to making your community better, it's important that you join hands with any organization, group, or even the government towards achieving that. And that starts from the place of concern. So you observe a problem in your community. Instead of complaining, I'm not saying protest is a wrong way to go about things. How can you solve that issue? Let's say you observe that there is indiscriminate disposal of waste. Like everywhere is always messed up. There is no proper disposal system for waste in the community. How can you organize with the members of the community to get that? Or how can you liaise with the Ministry of Environment to provide that? So that's more like volunteering your time or volunteering your service. So any place of concern you have, it shows that you have something to contribute towards the solution. It's possible at the moment you don't know how you can bring about a solution, but there are existing organizations that you can be part of that can solve that issue, maybe at the community level, at the state level, or at the national level. So there are a lot of organizations. It's just for you to ask the right questions around. At the same time, you could also volunteer as an organization virtual because many young people, not just young people, many people are online and they are trying to get the right information. So you could volunteer your time to support people with being equipped with the right information in an area of concern that you want to bridge that gap. In terms of being a part of Nigerian SDGs network, if you check our website, there's a membership form you could fill, and you could share with us how you can bring some relevant skills and expertise that can help towards meaningful youth engagement and achieving the objectives of the Nigerian SDGs network. And it's something we are welcome to. So there are lots of opportunities. Just start from that place of concern and join hands to achieve it. Thank you.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you
Goodness,
now.
can you hear?
Reynolds, I can hear you.
Okay, we lost her for now.
I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me or if I'm back online at the moment.
Okay, I think she's having network issues. Hello, Reinhard, are you there? Okay, let me take over from here now. Okay, from our agenda, I think we have come to the end of this section. So I want to thank all the panelists for their active participation towards today's event, and to our audience, for those of them that started the streaming, that started watching us from the beginning of our live stream up to this point. I want to say a very big thank you to you. We can't forget to thank the organizers, the organizers of this program, the network, Nigerian Youth SDG Network, the pioneers, and everybody that have put hands together to make this a reality. Thank you all for joining us, and please don't forget to follow up the soft copy of our edition on our website. Thank you very much, and please do have a wonderful
Sorry,
evening.
Elias, before we wrap up, I think there's a question which the team is trying to put up. So probably the panelists can jump on it before we close the discussion.
Okay.
So let me read it out because I don't know if anybody can see. He says, here's my question. After my HND, I'm currently working with a food and beverage company as casual. The job is, I don't know, ok for me. I just job 50% half scholarship. Okay, I just got 50% half scholarship to study BSc in another African country. I want your facilitator advice on it. Can I leave the current job which I'm doing presently? So I think what this person is asking is he is currently working with a food and beverage company as a casual staff, and he had also been able to access an opportunity to do a BSc with a 50% scholarship in an African country. He wants our advice on the best step forward. So any panelists who would want to give some suggestion that could help, it would be great before we wrap it up. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say I can go first. I would say this is a bit off topic for us. I would say this is a bit off topic for us, but if we have to engage, right? So let's do it. Well, first off, if you have an opportunity to go and study, an opportunity to improve your study and improve your status is something to say yes to at all times, particularly if you have the resources to follow through. So let's assume you're giving it, I don't know how much, maybe $10,000, and then you're giving a 50% discount. That means you have $5,000 to pay. And if you have that resources, I don't think there's even, we're not supposed to be talking about this. So it's to take the opportunity to advance yourself over, a part-time job anytime. That's my candid advice.
Okay, thank you so much, Donna. Just to add to what Ona has said, I would also add that the person does a feasibility study to know what you have at the moment and what you need. So if you want to go ahead with the opportunity, you need to find out, do I have the money I need? If I don't have it, how can I raise it? Family and friends, do I want to do crowdfunding? Or is there an opportunity, is there a room for me to study and work? Like if in the country they give you room to work for some hours and the money you can earn, you are able to save some amount that can cover it. Or if they give room for you to pay at the end of your study, probably when you're done with your study, they can allow you to pay back the loan maybe in the next 2 years or 3 years. So try to get as much information as possible about this opportunity before you go ahead with it. And if it's something that they could give you a deferment and you could be more prepared in the next 1 year, this is also an option you can think through and make the best decision on it. Either way, we wish you all the best in the decision you make, and we hope that in the job you're currently doing, you're also contributing to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Goodness, for giving a clear, and Mr. Onaf, thank you for giving us a clear answer to the question that is being asked. So I don't know if there's still another thing you want to talk about, and if there is none, please, can we have it a listen now? Can we stop from here now? Any other panelists, any other observation? Is there anything you have to say?
No, that's all for me. Thank you guys for having us.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.